Here is a photograph of the participants currently in this leg of the FIDE Grand Prix currently being played in Beijing, China. Here is Alexander Grischuk from Russia, one of the elite players in the world. You got a Kamsky from the United States, one of the elite players in the world. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again with another great chess video for you. This is a game that was played today on July 4th, 2013. Thursday. It's Independence Day here in the United States. For those of you outside the States, we celebrate our independence from England in 1776 on July 4th. Anyway, this is between Kamsky of the United States playing white and Alexander Grischuk from Russia is black. It's in the FIDE Grand Prix currently being played in Beijing, China. It's a series of tournaments that are going to determine by points who the next challenger is for the World Championship in 2014. We all know that this November, Magnus Carlsen is challenging the current world champion Vishy Anand in India. And that's going to be really great. I'm very much looking forward to it. I kind of like them both, so I'm not going to show a preference. But anyway, this is a game. I want to say at the beginning, the ending of this game is really, really amazing and really, really strange. Try not to look at the end if you can help it. It will kind of spoil it all. I kind of spoiled it already by telling you, but anyway, Kamsky is white, Grischuk is black. It's going to be a Sicilian. Knight to f3, knight c6, bishop b5. I kind of like that for white. e6, castle, knight there. Now there's something I don't see much. Of course, I'm only just under 1600 U.S. Chess Federation rated. I kind of like it though, be honest with you. Bishop to a4. I think it's an interesting move. a6, c4. I kind of like to play that setup as white with the pawn on c4 and e4. So I'm kind of liking this already. Knight to g6. Of course, that was the idea of moving the knight to e7. d4, pawn takes, knight takes, queen to c7. You can't see it off screen, but I have my Fritz 13 computer running, and it's about a fifth of a pawn advantage for white. Nothing really to scream about. Gata develops his bishop to e3. It's a pretty good position for white. I kind of like this. Very active. It seems very easy to play. Bishop to d6. Obviously, black's given up on the fact that he's going to have to fee and kettle his bishop here to get him developed. g3. I think what Gata was worried about was either bishop here or knight here. Probably bishop there, forcing to trade that bishop. And then knight would be in a good spot there. Knight takes, queen takes, bishop to e5. Now, of course, queen has to come back to guard the b-pawn. Queen takes. Now, it looks like he loses a pawn. But oddly enough, I'm looking at the score here, and white has a tiny advantage even though he's a pawn down. Bishop to c2. First he needs to guard the e-pawn. Then queen to e7. If bishop had taken b2, looks like it's a great move. He's going to lose the rook. Bishop to d3. Queen takes. Queen takes, bishop takes a1 with a huge advantage for white. And of course, it would be bishop to knight 2. After that, queen to c7, bishop to b3, castle, f4. Got us pushing those pawns, controlling that center. Exactly what you should be doing. Even though he's a pawn down, I like his position. He has about a third of a pawn lead, so this is a pretty good position here. It's very easy to play. Bishop to f6 and e5, of course. Bishop to e7. Now let's just take a look at this now. They both had the bishop pair, but I like white's position a lot. The knight's going to come here, and eventually the rook will come here. It looks like that's the way it's going to be played, the only open file. These pawns here are covering a lot of key squares. Both these bishops are out in the open. I like white a lot right here, frankly. Knight to c3. b5, he's got to develop that light squared bishop. And rook a to c1. Queen to b8. Now it's interesting. I never would have saw that move. The computer actually suggested as well. Queen to b8. Knight to e4. Get that piece centralized right out in the middle there. I'll tell you the truth, black's a little cramped right now.
Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry?
Hold it! I just have to tell you about the Aren't You Hungry for a Whopper game at Burger King. You can win a Whopper or a Coke, $1,000, $5,000, even $1 million. There's a 1 in 6 chance of winning a prize. Okay, back to the most important reason to come to Burger King, the food.
Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry for Burger King now?
You could win $1 million.
Bishop to b7, of course. That was the idea of b5 to get the light squared bishop developed. Knight to d6. Get that knight right down in his throat there. He almost has to take it. That knight is controlling so many different squares. Bishop takes, not queen takes, pawn takes. You know, I looked at this, and I probably would have taken with the queen. He probably would have traded. So it's probably better to keep the queens on the board with that pawn in the 6th rank. But even though there's no pawns on either side to help defend them, that's going to be tough to defend. Now, you got to remember something now. White's a pawn down still, and he still has a tiny advantage. So he's sitting pretty good. Being a pawn down and still having advantage in the game. Rook to c8. h4. h6. I think what he's trying to do is if this pawn comes up and challenges the knight will come here, and then the knight will come back here. Rook to c8 check. Queen takes. Rook to c1. Get that open file right back again. And he blocks with the bishop this time. I think what he's trying to do is maybe get queen here. I mean, this pawn pretty much takes all these diagonals away from the queen. He can't get out. So I think queen here. Then you would have the battery looking down through here. Would be a good idea for black. Rook to c5. I like that move. There isn't a dart squared bishop, so it can't be chased off. He's blocking up the position. He's blocking the queen from getting out. I like that move. Queen to e8. He goes the other way. I was really surprised. Bishop to d4. I'm not sure on that move. I was thinking more get the white queen in some action here. Maybe get her here. Or maybe here. I'm not really sure. Anyway, you got to play bishop to d4. a5. Get your pawns moved up. Get some space because he's really cramped. And he just needs space. a3. Now back queen to b8. I'm not really sure what to do here. I mean, what can he do? The knight can't go anywhere. Where's the knight going to go? Even if he does go here, he's going to go back here and then back up here. He's going to waste all that time just so bishop will take. I mean, so the knight's stuck there. The bishop's doing duty, guarding both pawns. What's he going to do? Move the rooks? That's about all he's got left. Bishop to e3. And here we go. What do you do now? Queen to e8. Grischuk's just shuffling around. He's not much he can do. I might go a4 just to chase the light squared bishop off. He'd probably go back to a2. I mean, what else can he do? It's just kind of discouraging when you get in positions like this. I don't care if you're a world-class player like Grischuk, which he is, world-class player. You're going back and forth. You feel helpless. It's a terrible feeling, especially for these guys. Queen to d4. The queen's starting to come up. I just noticed a simple thing here. White having the bishop pair. Look at these squares. White has his pieces on. They're all dark squares. And with that dark squared bishop, black is so weak on the dark squares. And remember, white's still down a pawn. Knight to f8, he's got to do something. Bishop to d2, knight to h7. Interesting might have went b4, and the computer suggests king to h2. After knight to h7, f5. I'm not so sure on that. I mean, even though Gata played it and the computer suggests it, I'm just wondering why it doesn't suggest at all that e takes f. Maybe we can take a look here and see why. Well, probably if black takes, rook takes, now we have the rook and the bishop bearing down on f7. It opens up. There's nothing to where the queen can go. There's nothing here. There isn't a space on this diagonal the queen can go. That's obviously the answer.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin than an egg in the middle of... Go ahead. You say it again.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin than an egg in the middle of a muffin.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin than an egg in the middle of an egg. No.
It's Canadian bacon and cheese on a powdered English muffin. A tasty breakfast sure to please.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin than the egg in the... You're really getting close.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin than an egg in the middle of a muffin.
There's more in the middle of an egg McMuffin.
We do it all for you.
I'm saying it right.
Now Grischuk at this point goes bishop to d5. I don't like that move that much, to be honest with you. I know it opens up this file. So after bishop takes, pawn takes, either rook takes or queen takes, it opens up this file here, and he gives back the pawn, but this pawn sitting here, it's over. It's too much commanding position for white, in my opinion. He backs off the bishop though, goes to c2, b4. He's just trying to get some breathing room, black is. g4. And queen to d8. I think interesting might have been instead of g4, a takes, bishop here. That's an interesting position there. Gives black a little bit of breathing room, but there's nothing really to attack over here on the queen side. I mean, what's he going to attack? Open air? And would have got the knight out, but I just don't like it. Even though, oddly enough, the computer shows an advantage for black, I don't care for it myself. After g4, he goes queen to d8. F takes e6. Interesting might have been bishop to e1. F takes c6. D takes g5. I think a takes d7. Queen takes b4. Queen to d8. It's not too good. That's puts white. It ruins white's advantage. The pawns are gone. He's down a full pawn. Granted, he's got a passer on the b file, but just don't care for it. I think it's kind of worthless. g5, h takes. I think that was Kamsky's mistake. 36, h takes g5. I think queen to e5 might have been better. Knight to f6, and then h takes. it's interesting, before that, it was about a little over a pawn advantage for black. After H takes, it goes to over 4.5 advantage point-wise for black. Queen takes D6. What he should have done instead was knight takes G5. I gotta say, this is move 36 for black coming up. I didn't see if they were in time pressure or not. I just saw the game after the fact. So instead of queen takes D6, which was the probably move he should have made, he played queen takes D6, which throws away almost all of his advantage. Just to show, after knight takes G5 what would have happened. Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, king to F2. Now there's the king out in the open. Queen to D2 check, king to E1, queen to G3, king to D2, queen takes D6. And it's a 3-pull pawn advantage for black. I think black missed it. After queen takes, bishop to F4. Now look at this for a minute, and this is Grischuk. This is a world-class player. He's a great poker player too, from what I hear. The obvious move is knight takes G5. Get your pawn back, get another pawn, because we can see that if bishop takes queen, this knight would come here check, winning back the queen. And after he takes the queen, he's attacking the light squared rook. I like that a lot better. Can't believe that Grischuk missed that one. Queen A6, another question mark. F2. Interesting was queen takes G7, king takes, bishop takes, B takes A, B takes A, knight to E4, bishop takes, bishop takes. That would have been pretty crazy. That's a wild ending there. Black, of course, should win that one easily. After queen to A6, king to F2, rook to C8. Now it's a small advantage for white. I think white has finally overcome the position. Even though he's down 2 pawns, he's sitting very well here. He plays 8 takes B. And that, folks, is the end of the game. Why? As soon as white took A takes B4, move 39, Kamsky, one of the elite players in the world, lost on time. Let me try that again. Kamsky in the United States, who I like, I'm an American, lost on time. It is so unlike Gata. He is so in control. He's a bull. Obviously he was in time trouble. And after those mistakes made by Grischuk, he lost on time. Whether he pulled, unfortunately, what Hikaru Nakamura did a couple of years ago, where he thought it was move 40, got up from the table and lost, I'm not really sure. I don't know the details. But that's the end of the game, folks. I thought it was still a good game. Obviously, they were both in time trouble with the mistakes that Grischuk, his black, made at the end. And anyway, so there you have it. One of the very few times you'll see an elite player, except for Ivanchuk, lose on time. It's a shame. Anyway, folks, that's the end of that video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try to be covering some of the games here in the Grand Prix series of tournaments in Beijing for the next 10 days or so. But I'm going to try to play some games on the side against the computer and some players that need to warm up a little bit, because I'm going to be playing in the U.S. Open in the end of July, early August here in the United States. It's going to take place in Wisconsin, which is right in the northern north midwestern United States. I live in upstate New York. It's about a 15-hour drive one way. I've never played in the U.S. Open. And what's interesting about that tournament is it's everybody plays each other. Now, there are class prizes based on your rating. But if, say, you win the first 3 games, you could very well be a 1600 player and play a Grandmaster. Kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to be playing in that at the end of July, early August. I'll hope to get a lot of nice pictures for you. Some videos as well. Anyway, folks, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I hope to see everyone in the next video. Please comment and please subscribe. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.